This is Patty Page of Cataway Shelties. We bought our first Sheltie in 1962. However, because we were in the military, my husband went to West Point and we were in the military, we didn't know for how long. So we didn't breed or show until the 70s. 70s when actually didn't breed or show in the 70s either, but in the 70s when I bought a Lingard bitch from Gene Cunningham Jew. The old timers will remember Lingard and Gene Jew. I bred this bitch to the great Peter Pumpkin and kept the only bitch who was eventually bred to a Peter grandson, which produced Champion K Macho Man CD in '85. So that was our very first. This is a picture of my husband and I at that time. You can see, Macho moved around the ring well, and he loved being with me. He had terrible ears. I had no idea how to do the ears, which is an important thing we're going to get to pretty soon. But this is George and I in the 70s. So, starting with him, I started with Sables. They were the ones who were winning at the time, and they were the ones that everybody knew about. Sables were the important Sheltie dogs at that time. One funny thing, when I was showing Macho one time and he got breed over some specials, I didn't know what to do. I was supposed to go in the group ring, and I didn't. And it was the whole group at that time. It was the working group. I went over to Bill Muncy, who became a good friend of mine throughout this whole many years, and I said, "Please, Bill, you know how to do this. You take him in the ring for me." He said, "No, I'm not going to do it." I said, "Please." He said, "No, you got him this far. You will go. You will show him." Well, I went in and made every mistake. We didn't do anything in a group. Of course, I learned later on how to take care of the group ring too. But because from that time on, that was when I started getting friends who are important to learn from. You need to learn, you need to watch, and you need to listen. My good friends then were Wade Burns, Melanie Williams, Ron Lackey, and Bill Muncy, who told me he wouldn't go in for me, and he still laughs we laughed together at that. But he was right. I needed to learn, and I have learned every step of the way. I learned grooming was important, and watched and asked questions. Very important. Because I had shown horses, I felt that structure was very important. I showed jumpers and hunters. You had to have good structures. You didn't need a horse that would drop his leg over a rail fence. You needed a good, strong body. And that's what I looked for in Shelties. I bred to sires, stud dogs, for the qualities my bitch did not have. I didn't care about if the pedigree matched, that was good. I would line breed. That was the best way to go to make sure you got something good. But I didn't breed for the line breeding. I bred for what my bitch needed, and I became very successful at that. I am linked and bred and owned over 85 champions. When a dog showed intelligence, which most of them do, but not all, I tried to give them, after their championships, I gave them to a performance person who I liked and admired for what they did in the performance ring. I think Shelties, if they have the intelligence and they have that body, they should not become, they should not become a couch potato. They're never happy doing that. They like, they like to work. And in performance, they can work. And that gives them a new family. It's always got to be, I only give them to nice families who will have them as a house dog. And they also learn to do something new every day, every day. And that's what I thought was important. And I have many VCXs, which is versatility excellent. And then I have to show you another picture. I'm only going to show you his head because this is Bari. Bari is American Canadian champion Cataway Swiss Air, UDHS VCX. He he was a magnificent dog, and he will always be my heart dog. I don't know about heart dogs. I have so many. And I had to give some of them away. Bari was viciously killed when he was only 8 years old. We won't talk about that because I can't. But he was a very special dog who could do anything, and he jumped, and he did. I mean, and he would he would just you say it, and he'd do it. He knew what you were talking about, and he would do it. He had a great vocabulary. Okay, to get back to the other dogs, I have other dogs I need to tell you about. Bari was not, he was just a wonderful dog, and he happened to be a tri-dog, which was interesting. That was my first tri-dog, and he produced my AOAC litters. In showing, when I learned to show, I would usually show 2 or 3 dogs at a time because I would win more. Of course, in those days, the entry fees were only $10. Not like it is today. Nowadays, you can't afford to show 2 or 3 dogs just for the experience. But I won. People knew that my dogs could move. They could outmove anything in the ring. And if they had good ears and they had a nice expression, they'd win. When I'd get to the point when I had single points and needed majors to finish the dog, I used handlers. That went to more real friends, who, some of them were Jod Woodring, Debbie Walden, Linda Bro, Nick Joins, and Joel McCarty. Judges, Dorothy Christensen and Katie Gamble, I loved their judging, and they taught me so much. They taught me what I should change and what I should do, and we had seminars together, and they were wonderful. I really enjoyed knowing them. Today's Shelties are prettier with lean heads, thick coat, more neck, which sometimes doesn't show that the layback of the shoulder is really good. If the shoulder layback is really good, they have a nice neck, and an overall sweeter eye they have. I miss more layback of shoulder and strong rears. The rears you can tell when they're 10 weeks old. The rears, you track the puppies going away and coming at you. You can tell if the fronts will come. The fronts will come as they get older. The rears won't come. They've got to have a good rear at 10 weeks, I think. Now, the next important dog I had of the 85 was this one. Can you see that? Let's see. How can I see that? Okay. This was one of the few herding group wins that I had with this dog because I had somebody else show him because they got a best in show on him. He was the only best in show I had, and it was his, good grief, I can't make it. Okay, there it is. His name was Champion Cataway's Cash Dividend. We called him Tad, a tad of cash. and and he was a Century Club winner. He won over 100 breeds, 110 I think. And he produced my next Sable line. He produced very well, very well. And I can show you pedigrees. I wish I had more time, I would show you pedigrees. But the pedigrees to me weren't as important as the qualities I was breeding for. For me, that was important. I needed to produce what I loved. And I think all of us need to do that. You need to have a goal, a real goal in charge. And I think you can do that. I think most people, when they get into Shelties, they love the look. And a Sheltie is a good size, and they're such a good family dog and all that. You need to know that it's going to be work. To win, it's going to take money. It doesn't pay you money back. You get prizes sometimes, but you don't get money. People have always asked me, how much did you win? How much did you win? Well, that's not what you do Shelties for. That's not why you go to dog shows. You go because it's exciting. It's something that gets in your blood and you have to keep going back. So you have to know that you're going to put some money into it. And here's another dog that was one of our best. Her name was Whitney, Cataway's Miss Firecracker. I'll never forget when Tommy Cohen put her up at a specialty all the way. And she had a lot of dogs that were competing with her that was good. Anyway, this picture was taken when I was showing her at 10 years of age as a veteran. It was Whitney, and she won Best of Breed at a specialty. And this was, at 10 years old. You look at that structure. Can you see it well enough? She was a wonderful dog, and other than that, she had a pleasing head and a pleasing eye. I miss her too. I miss her too. At any rate, my last one I'm going to show you was my last champion. His name is Britt, or Cataway's, what's his name? Cataway's Crown Prince. Crown Prince. Now he has lots of, the only way I could let him go, because it was after we had moved from Maryland down to South Carolina, and my husband said, no more Shelties because they're going to live too long, too long for us, since we were already in our 80s, and then whatever. And then it goes on, but so the day he finished, Linda Oshnago was there. She had another dog of mine who I'd given to her a few years before, Casanova. After he finished his championship, he was just too smart to just sit on the couch. Britt's the same way. Britt, this dog I've cried over, and I still can't really talk about him very, very nicely, because he's a great dog. He loves to show. His ears are right on top of his head, and he like my good friend Debbie tells me, a tree could show him. he would show for anybody. He just loves the show ring. Anyway, Linda has now learned to show in the breed ring because of him. And she got his grand championship, which I did not have. I only got his championship. He's gotten his grand championship and his VCX. And he is still showing in Raleigh and whatever. She has him set work. He does everything. He's a good dog, but that was hard to let him go. But it was good for him. He has a wonderful family. Yeah. And you have to be able to let them go. You can't just keep these dogs around. You can't keep so many that you can't individualize each one of them. It's not good for them, even though they love you the most. They will learn to love somebody else. They always remember you. I see a dog that I have given to somebody else at a dog show. If they see me coming, they just go crazy. They just love me so much. And this is after years, after maybe 5 or 6 years that they've been in somebody else's home. They know me, absolutely. They all do. So the best advice I can give to anyone is know. You gotta look, you gotta watch, and listen. And my one good friend back then, one of the handlers, said, I can breed a good beagle to a good beagle and have all good beagle puppies. You can't do that in Shelties. You're very lucky to get one good puppy or show puppy in a litter. So beware. Do it for love. Do it because you then get hooked. Once you start going, you get hooked. So good luck. Bye now.